My parents took all the money I had saved up without even asking me. They used it to pay off my sister's debt. I was really upset and surprised when my parents took all my savings without asking. They used it to pay off my sister's debt, which meant I couldn't use it for something I'd been planning to do. I had been counting on that money for something important to me. Growing up, it was clear that my parents loved my sister Emily more than me. They thought she was flawless and never criticized her. But with me, it was the opposite. I always heard about my mistakes and what I did wrong. I loved Emily, but it was hard not to feel bitter when our parents treated us so unfairly. This favoritism drove us apart and made our relationship worse as we grew older. It started with small things. My sister Emily would get brand new toys just because, while I had to keep using my old ones. If she wanted something, my parents would bend over backwards to get it for her right away. But if I asked for something similar, they would lecture me about being responsible with money and the importance of saving. I tried to brush it off and told myself it wasn't a big deal. But deep down, it didn't feel fair. It felt like they were playing favorites. As we got older, the difference in how my parents treated us became even more clear. When Emily turned 16, they surprised her with a brand new, shiny red convertible. It was a big deal. Everyone noticed her when she drove by. But when I turned 16, I didn't get a car at all. I had to take the bus or ask friends for rides. Finally, when I got my driver's license, my parents gave me an old car that was more rust than shine. I was grateful to have a car, but it was obvious that what Emily got was way better than what I got. It wasn't just about the stuff they gave us. My parents were always quick to praise Emily for her accomplishments, no matter how small. But when I achieved something, they barely acknowledged it or made it seem like no big deal. For instance, when I got accepted into college with some financial aid, they hardly said a word. But when Emily got into a decent school, they threw a big celebration like she had gotten into the best school ever. It felt unfair and made me feel like my achievements didn't count. The final blow came when I started a part-time job to save up for a dream trip I'd been wanting to take for years. I was so excited to finally have enough money to make it happen. But then, I checked my savings account and was devastated to find it almost empty. My parents had taken my money to pay off Emily's credit card debt. When I confronted them about it, they didn't even apologize. Instead, they said that family comes first and that Emily needed the money more than I did. It felt like they didn't care about my dreams or the hard work I put in to save that money. I felt a mix of emotions: anger, hurt, and a deep sense of betrayal. But Emily seemed oblivious, or maybe she was just pretending not to know what had happened. She thanked me with a smile, like I had freely given her my hard-earned savings. That's when it hit me. I could never count on my parents to treat me fairly. They had already made it clear that they had a favorite child, and it wasn't me. After that, I started to distance myself from my family. I focused on my studies, worked hard, and eventually landed a good job in a new city. I moved away and only kept in touch with my family through occasional phone calls or visits during holidays. Over time, Emily and I lost touch, and our once strong bond faded away, becoming just a memory. Years later, when I had established a successful life and was financially secure, I received a call from my parents. They were having financial troubles and needed help. Emily had made some bad investment choices and lost a significant amount of money. They asked if I could lend them money to help Emily recover from her financial mistakes. I took a deep breath, remembering all the times I was ignored and my savings were taken without a second thought. I calmly told them I couldn't help, explaining that I had my own life and responsibilities to focus on. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. For the first time, I put myself first. It wasn't about revenge, it was about finally standing up for myself after years of being treated like I wasn't good enough. I ended the call, feeling confident that I had made the right decision, even if it meant cutting ties with a family that had never truly valued me. Is it wrong of me to give something to someone that was originally given to me, even if we're not friends anymore? Hi everyone, I'm new to writing here and I'm a bit nervous about what you'll say in the comments. But I want to share a story that's been on my mind, even though it's not bothering me anymore. In fact, it makes me laugh now. I'll try to keep the story brief and to the point. So I've known my coworker Steph for about a year now. We actually worked together at our old job before moving to our current job. She was a huge help in getting me hired at our current company. At the time, Steph was like a best friend to me. We were really close. To make a long story short, Steph suddenly stopped talking to me last year without any explanation, and we're no longer friends. It's been really confusing because we still work together, and I have no idea why she cut me off. Anyway, when we were still friends and she was training me, she gave me her old keyboard. She had just gotten a new one, so she passed it on to me. It was a nice white keyboard that lights up when you type. So I've been using the keyboard Steph gave me for over a year, since I started working with her. Recently, my boyfriend gave me his old keyboard, which he barely used, and I really like it because it matches my black desk. I brought the new keyboard to work to replace the old one Steph gave me. One of my closest friends at work, who always greets me with a hug every morning, noticed that I had a new keyboard. My friend has always liked the white keyboard Steph gave me and has considered buying one online. When she noticed my new keyboard, I offered her the white one. Remember, Steph sits right across from me in our shared cubicle, so she could hear everything we were discussing. I handed the white keyboard over to my friend, and she thanked me. It made her day because she had been wanting that keyboard for a long time. A few minutes passed, and Steph came over to the desk behind me where we keep some forms. She was looking through them and then asked me, "Oh, you got a new keyboard," even though she already knew the answer. Since my friend and I had been talking about it loudly right in front of her, we weren't trying to be overheard. That's just how we normally talk to each other. I told Steph, "Yeah, my boyfriend Brandon gave me his old keyboard to match my desk." Then Steph asked, "Can I have my old keyboard back?" I was confused. So I said, "Oh, I already gave it to Tiffany." Steph replied, "I want it back so I can sell it or something." I looked at her in surprise, and she said, "I'm being serious." I thought to myself, "Really?" So I told her, "Okay, I'll try to get it back for you later." Steph mumbled under her breath, "I'm just going to go get it," as she walked into the room where my friend with the keyboard was. Our rooms are really close, so I could hear everything they said. Steph had the nerve to approach my friend and ask, "Hey, can I have my keyboard back?" My friend, and being her usual bubbly and sweet self, replied, "Oh yeah, of course." Meanwhile, Steph was being serious and somewhat hostile, which I found pretty amusing. But honestly, I couldn't believe how bold Steph was being. She couldn't stand seeing someone happy right in front of her, even though she had no intention of selling her $30 keyboard. My friend and I burst out laughing about it because we know exactly what Steph is like. And my friend, who I won't name because I respect her so much, is literally the sweetest, most down-to-earth person in our office and in my life. She's always bubbly and kind, and it's amazing. Unfortunately, Steph is the complete opposite of my sweet friend. She's always been bitter, jealous, insecure, rude, and ignorant. It took me a while to realize this because I try to see the good in people. Maybe I'll write about that experience in another post if you're interested. What's embarrassing is that we're both grown women in our 20s, but we're still dealing with this drama. So I'm asking you guys, was I wrong in this situation? Was Steph just being petty for no reason?